process where mentors of the new members, or big brothers or bigs, were revealed to the new members, or little brothers or littles. As part of this event, it is alleged that the new members, almost all being underage, were provided a bottle of high alcohol content liquor. They were told that the tradition of the chapter was that the entire bottle, approximately 750 milliliters, what's commonly referred to as a fifth, should be consumed by the little at the event. The rest of the event surrounded the watching of the little's attempt to do so. It is alleged that Stone Foltz consumed all or nearly all of the contents of his bottle and then was taken home by several other members, including his big brother, Jacob Crin. He was left there alone, where some minutes later he was discovered by his roommate. After observing Stone for a time and calling for aid from friends, they called 911. By the time the first responders got there, the roommate was administering CPR to Stone. He was taken to Wood County Hospital and then to Toledo Hospital, where he passed away on March 7th. The autopsy indicated that Stone died from fatal alcohol intoxication during a hazing event with a blood alcohol content of 0.35, over 4 times the legal limit. It is alleged that several of the members of the fraternity engaged in providing misinformation to the police and disposing of evidence in an attempt to protect themselves and other members. In response to the detailed facts surrounding this narrative, the Wood County Grand Jury returned the indictments set out in the press release. This is the beginning of the criminal process for these men. These men stand innocent unless and until they are proven guilty in court. It is also a step in the continuing ongoing investigation, and I want to stress that. There is more evidence to obtain, review, and consider. There are more people to talk to and who want to talk to us. This was not a party where hazing occurred. From what we have learned, we believe and allege that hazing was an integral part of this event. There are many more people to identify as being at or involved in this event. Those who have been indicted may still have more liability coming. The result of this event was catastrophic. And I want to say this to the people who were at the event. If you do not even attempt to be part of the solution, you may well be identified as part of the problem, and we will respond to that. Thank you. I'll take questions.
What part of this case in particular stands out to you the most, and if you do get a conviction in all 8 of these, do you believe it will change the culture?
I told the family that it's not my job to make an overwhelming statement. It's my job to prosecute this case and allow my actions to make the statement in the larger context. My hope is already gone because my hope was never to have to take one of these cases. So my hope now is to provide as much relief, justice, and closure for these folks as I possibly can.
Are all 8 defendants BGSU students?
All of them but one. One of them was not currently enrolled at BGSU.
Is that the 23-year-old, I'm guessing?
No, I don't believe it was the 23-year-old. It was Aaron Lahane.
Can you speak to the varying degrees of the charges? Jacob Crin in question you said was Stone's big brother. Why was he charged with first-degree manslaughter as opposed to the other 7 that were charged with third degree?
Well, first-degree manslaughter reflects the fact that a person, that the defendant caused a person's death as the result of committing a felony. We've alleged that that felony was felonious assault, and we charged him with the felonious assault as well. The third-degree felony involuntary manslaughters are based on the idea that an individual caused the death of another as a proximate result of committing a misdemeanor. the language is more complicated than that, but that's essentially what it is. Jacob Kryn was more directly involved in the incident relative to Stone Foltz from the beginning to the end of that incident, including taking him to the apartment. For that reason, we felt that the culpability was different.
How many individuals were with Stone when he consumed alcohol? How many drove him to his apartment? Do you identify?
You're gonna have to speak up.
How many individuals were with Stone when he consumed alcohol, and how many of those individuals drove him to the apartment? Do you identify those?
He was at the event, so there were multiple people around when he was consuming the alcohol. There were 3 people who were with him to take him home, and I won't identify them.
Do you get the sense that this is the first time that this kind of event has ever happened with this fraternity? Has your information turned up other events similar to this?
It would be surprising to find out that this was the first time this event had happened.
All of them in custody?
No, they've all been had summonses issued. They are to appear in front of Judge Kuhlman in courtroom 4 on May 19th at 1 o'clock.
Why is this a 15 charge against that lawyers?
He was ultimately indicted only on misdemeanors, and it's at this point it's the felony cases that we are primarily focusing on.
Historically, we've seen a lot of these cases, felonies are charged at the beginning of the case, and a lot of times are dropped down to misdemeanors. I know the family has repeatedly said that they straight out call this murder. Is the family happy with the charges that were filed today? And can you give any assurance that the felonies will remain and not be dropped down as part of a plea deal, or as big as the attention this case has gotten?
The family has been very gracious in their cooperation with us, and their at this point willingness to follow the information that we've provided them. What will happen to the charges as we move through this case, our determinations we'll make then, and they will be with the family's involvement, and I've told them that.
Do you believe there's any university personnel that knew that this event was going to happen or something similar had happened in the past?
I wouldn't respond to that.
Why is only Quinn and Henderson being charged with responsibility?
I'm sorry.
Why is only Quinn and Henderson being charged with responsibility?
Just because of their particular involvement in the case. Both Jacob Kryn and Troy Hendrickson's charges, which are for Kryn is first-degree involuntary manslaughter, third-degree involuntary manslaughter, and reckless homicide, and for Mr. Hendrickson is the third-degree involuntary manslaughter and the reckless homicide. Those are charged in what we call in the alternative. So if those people were to be, it just gives different options to the jury. So if they were to be convicted of all of them, they would only be sentenced on one of them.
Yeah, if Quinn is found guilty of all charges, no plea is offered, what's the next guilt?
If who?
If Quinn is, he's found guilty of all charges, and maximum jail time is given, so the
19 years.
From your investigation, did Kryn have any prior relationship before attending BGSU? I know in the release you said he's from Delaware, which is a fairly small town city here in Ohio. Did they have any prior relationship before meeting, either from the fraternity or at BGSU?
The details of the case I'm not going to go into.
Obviously, this is a very serious crime, which has clearly resulted in very serious charges. Can you kind of talk about what messages may be sent to anyone in the future who might be involved in hazing, especially here in Wood County?
Well, again, it's really not my intention by the prosecution of this case to send a message. My prosecution is based on the facts of the case by the collective legal and factual determinations that have been made by my team based on the information and evidence that's been obtained by the police department. Certainly, it's my hope and intention that this case would be treated meaningfully, seriously, and intentionally. But that's how we prosecute cases. Obviously, I want this to be the only and last time that this type of case is prosecuted in Wood County. And please God, let it be the last time that it's prosecuted in the United States.
You said there were more people you were hoping to step forward. Do you know how many more people out there might have been involved?
We don't know exactly how many people were at the party. I mean, or at the event. It was an event with a kind of a party atmosphere. But certainly we don't at this point know everybody that was there. But potentially everybody that was there was involved in hazing. Potentially everybody that was there was involved in providing alcohol, in some way providing alcohol to somebody who was underage. And so they're intimately involved in this event. They may have information, or they may be somebody who we get information on.
Would they all have been members of the fraternity?
I'm sorry?
Would they all have been members of the fraternity?
I don't know the answer to that question.
So potentially more people could be charged in this case?
Yes.
As part of the investigation up to this point, Paul, have each of these folks that have not been charged, have they been an opportunity to contact them, and had they been interviewed?
Through the investigation process, as many as we could identify and who were willing to talk have been interviewed. Whether they all know at this point that they've been charged I don't know the answer to that question. Okay, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.